Hi there, students. Airy-Fairy. Okay, this is one of these rhyming compounds. I think mostly this is a British phrase. If you say that somebody's ideas are airy-fairy, you're saying that they're unrealistic, they're impractical, they are vague. So he's full of these airy-fairy ideas that are going to be totally impossible to implement. It's like he lives in a dream world. Yeah, these are fanciful. These are ideas that are up in the clouds. So please be practical. Don't be airy-fairy. Don't be dreamy and fanciful. Be practical. He was supposed to give us advice, but all he came up with were these airy-fairy ideas. I'm sick of all this airy-fairy theorizing without anything practical. So airy-fairy, impractical. Notice airy-fairy can also mean insubstantial, very thin. So she was wearing an airy-fairy nightgown, and here delicate, very thin. Maybe you could see everything in that airy-fairy nightgown. Or maybe she had this airy-fairy build, very delicate, very lovely. But to me, normally, airy-fairy is not based on reality, not thinking about the real world. Now, be careful, because also this can be very critical, saying you think something is effeminate. It doesn't have any strength to it. So he'd better get rid of that airy-fairy way of being. I don't want any more of these airy-fairy ideas about spending money that isn't his. So, lacking substance, not practical, lacking substance, fairy-like, yeah, not real, something that is in the world of make-believe. He's talking about buying a hotel in the West Country, but it sounds very airy-fairy to me. It's not practical. It's not realistic. It's not concerned with the affairs of the world. The government's airy-fairy approach means that the laws that they make are not actually going to do anything. The scheme seemed rather airy-fairy to me. Okay, so it's fairy-like. It's not in the world that we all like. So this sounds rather airy-fairy to me. It's impractical. So yeah, don't be so airy-fairy. Be decisive. Make your decisions and say what's going to happen. Now, the origin of this is quite interesting. This phrase was coined by Alfred Lord Tennyson in a poem called Lilian. Airy-fairy Lilian, fitting fairy Lilian, when I ask her if she love me, claps her tiny hands above me. So airy-fairy, but insubstantial, impractical, not in the real world. The politicians are talking about airy-fairy concepts that will never come about in my lifetime. An airy-fairy scheme. An airy-fairy idea about winning a fortune on the lottery. Airy-fairy principles. No, you need solid principles, things that work, that are based on reality. So let's see, formality, airy-fairy. I think I'd give it a. I think I'm going to give it a 4 in formality. Use informally, use in a semi-formal conversation, semi-formal writing just about. Yeah, I think you could use it there as well. So anyway, airy-fairy.